Aren't you tired of being nice? Don't you just want to go postal? Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome back to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time we're checking out Postal Running with Chainsaws, and depressingly, this mod features actually 0 chainsaws. I mean, what the heck? How can you do this to me, you pieces of shit? Initial stumbles aside, Postal Running with Chainsaws takes its inspiration from Postal Redux and Postal 2, bringing an assortment of weaponry into the mix that you'll find familiar, while also retaining signature HUD elements and, of course, voice lines from the Postal Dude himself. In terms of map set, considering the gameplay mod here didn't come bundled with one, Chainworm Commando came highly recommended thanks to some community suggestions. A 10 level WOD that is completable in a reasonable amount of time, features high degrees of high-tiered Doomcute, and I'm happy to say seemed to fit the gameplay WOD in question like a glove. Also worth mentioning that I'm using Nashgore for this one, because why even bother if you're not adding a little bit of the extra red stuff. In case you hadn't already noticed, what with the gameplay on screen, Postal Running with Chainsaws affords you some special abilities. One fairly prominent one is the ability to piss all over your enemies. For the most part, only stuns them, but still, it is a reliable stun, allowing you to have an enemy block any other enemies behind and just, generally humiliate the demon spawn where they stand. Add some Vitamin X to the mix, however, and your piss suddenly becomes extremely lethal. I tried it on the Cyber Demon. It got uncomfortable after a while. Despite that, following up with a shovel hit always seems to be a reliably satisfying way to dispatch an enemy, what with its relatively high degree of damage dealing and a supremely satisfying impact sound effect. In terms of the other unique ability that you have access to during the course of running with chainsaws, that would be the ability to stick a grenade in your mouth and tell everyone else to peace the f*** out. Now, as fun as that is as a one-off goof, something strange was happening to me in the deeper, unconscious realm of my brain, seeing as it was bound to R, which is my usual reload key for a lot of other games. I just kept hitting it, by accident. But then, it kept happening. I did it again! Maybe there's just something about this level that inspires suicidal thoughts. I regret nothing. What the f***? I was talking about this earlier today with someone. How, technically, there's 2 dueling parts of your brain. And I like to think that at this particular point of inebriation, silent partner is sat there going, ha ha, so you're right, you f***ing idiot. Ha ha ha, do it again. I share my brain with an asshole. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with me. Anyway, guns. The other medium with which you'll use to interact with demon kind. For starters, things are pretty straightforward. Pistol, shotgun, SMG perform pretty much exactly how you expect to. Beyond that, however, is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. The spray cannon, for example, is basically a full auto shotty. If anything, it feels unfair to even try to compare this against the standard shotty because this thing just utterly eviscerates. And even if it's listed as a downside, the accuracy at range on this thing is actually still pretty damn decent. Scissors, throwable, silent, ricochets off walls, and allegedly does more damage in the SMG, but at a lower fire rate, and just doesn't really feel all that great to use, personally speaking. Rocket Launcher has a few interesting alterations in comparison to vanilla here. Faster, but with a slower startup speed. And if you hold down that primary, it'll also charge a homing rocket. Can occasionally feel a bit unwieldy, but makes up for that for actually dealing much more damage than the old regular rocket launcher. And then we have the M60 heavy machine gun, which is just, quite frankly, ridiculous in terms of damage dealing. Essentially replaces the plasma gun, which seems about right considering you can absolutely hose down enemies with this thing. On a similar front, we have the good old-fashioned improvised flamethrower, consisting of an aerosol and a lighter. This thing, once again, absolutely decimates anything in its path. To such a degree where I dare say the M60 and the improvised flamethrower here are way OP in comparison to everything else. And it's probably for the best that the level pack here featured a death exit, resetting my arsenal and preventing things from just getting far too trivial. During the latter end of the level pack, I also encountered the napalm launcher, which is pretty effective. It will explode on impact, leaving a pool of flame in the immediate area, stunning anything caught within, and if you do somehow miss a target, the canisters will bounce, leaving a trail of napalm wherever it goes. I imagine pretty damn good when it comes to not just tougher enemies, but crowds of them too. Also came across the revolver during the latter part of this map set. Basically a more powerful pistol, much slower in terms of fire rate, but still packs a wallop. But one thing I somehow managed to miss would be the diseased cowhead, when you absolutely positively have to inflict biological warfare on the denizens of hell. Outside of pissing on them, this would be your number one choice. Probably for the best that you can only carry one of them at any given time. There's also a scythe in here as well, which at first I thought was completely unremarkable, until I realized that if you bind a key for zoom, you can actually huck the damn thing and it will cleave through a bunch of enemies. And then you can go pick it up again, which is neat. Outside of the weapons, you've also got a bunch of throwables, which is typically what your secondary fire is for. And in terms of that particular roster, you got access to grenades, dynamites, mines, bouncing betties, which can be a little dangerous to yourself as well as everything else, timed mines, and molotovs. Got a lot of mileage out of molotovs. What this mod doesn't have, however, and I'm not just talking about the chainsaws I mentioned at the start, there's no cat silencer, there's no petition. Now, I'm not saying that this mod is a complete write-off on the basis of those omissions alone. It's still quite a lot of fun. What I'm saying is there's room for expansion. More ways that you can help the player embody the Postal Dude within Doom. And if you are in fact seeking that particular experience, if you are possessed of an urge to unleash your inner edgelord, then I'd certainly recommend that you give this a try. In any case, that about wraps it up for this episode of Doom Mod Madness. Certainly hope you've enjoyed it, and if you feel like supporting the channel and wish to join this list of esteemed names scrolling up the screen here, for $1 a month, you can not only join this list of extremely cool people, but also get yourself some early access editions of any future videos when available. As usual, feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments below, and also feel free to suggest any mods you'd like to see me cover in future editions of Doom Mod Madness. Until next time, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.